about my city, a little town where I'm from, where everybody's southern raised, just as good as they come. Backwoods and mossy oak and mud holes, and back then we only ate what the farm grow. Man, I miss some days how we played on them dirt roads, and out of towners came with respect, cause they know we all close. Yeah, southern pride, towing gun folks. Welcome to my city, I-75 South, just north of Live Oak.
I'm from a city called Austin, Georgia, right on the border of Florida. I was raised on these dirt roads, mud tires spin, backwoods when they ride, this is small town living, yeah. Now welcome to my city, title town, 229, turn it up so they can hear it loud. We eddied up with big trucks and heavy G's, pretty girls get moonshine and whiskey.
It's nothing like our dirt roads, you can bet that, son. I'm from a city, by any means, we gon' protect our guns. I hang with the rednecks and yee-yees. We get up in big trucks in the backwoods like Indians and teepees. This the home of the mighty, mighty Vikings. Wildcats, blazing, title town license. Winners, pretty girls with country grammar. When I say about Austin, Georgia, I ain't talking about Atlanta. This a different type of city, where the woods are pretty, but get gritty, you hear me? What you know about that 229? You can find us on the Florida, Georgia line, where I reside.
I'm from a city called Austin, Georgia, right on the border of Florida. I was raised on these dirt roads, mud tires spin, backwoods when they ride, this is small town living, yeah. Now welcome to my city, title town, 229, turn it up so they can hear it loud. We eddied up with big trucks and heavy G's, pretty girls get moonshine and whiskey. Georgia, right on the border of Florida. I was raised on these dirt roads, mud tires spin, backwoods when they ride, this is small town living, yeah. Now welcome to my city, title town, 229, turn it up so they can hear it loud. We eddied up with big trucks and heavy G's, pretty girls get moonshine and whiskey.
What's up, Title Town? It's Thursday night, and it's time to awaken the nation. Mr. Drum Major. Well, no, we can't do that because we don't have a game this week. But we'll get back to that next week. Thank you so much for joining us for the show tonight. Welcome back to the Viking Nation Live. Don't forget to like and share to all your social media accounts. By the way, we're entering the first week of the playoffs. And if you're watching tonight and it's your first time ever joining us, thank you so much for doing that. I recognize that you could be spending so much of your time doing other things, but you chose to spend it with the Viking Nation Live tonight. So welcome aboard. And so with that said, we welcome everybody to the nation. Our Vikings are 9-1. I got used to saying 5-0, 6-0, 9-0, but now we get to say 9-1. And, some people would say, yeah, we should be 10-0, that kind of stuff. And we'll get to all that as the show progresses. But you know what, guys? It's been quite a while since we've been 9-1 with a first round game in the playoffs at Martin Stadium. So there is much to celebrate. It wasn't too long ago, actually, 2-3 years ago, when we were talking about, is Lowndes ever going to get back up to the top of the mountain? Is Lowndes ever going to challenge for a regional championship again? And so for the last 2 years, we not only challenged, we came this close. Two tiebreakers in the last couple of years. Just happened to miss out on the tiebreaker because that's just the way it works sometimes. If you use the default GHSA tiebreaker, who knows? We might have ended up on top, but that's just the way it works out sometimes. But the good news is Lowndes has a lot to be proud of. That is for sure. With that said, let me go ahead and bring on one of our super fans onto the screen, and that's Ahmad Rashad. I just called you Ahmad Rashad, as in the famous Minnesota Vikings wide receiver, Ahmad Rashad.
You know, that's kind of who I'm named after.
Is it really?
Yeah. My grandma didn't want me to have a whole, Muslim name. So Armand is kind of what that's what you get.
I hear you, man. I hear you. How things going for you?
Let me just get this off my chest right now. They cheated. They cheated. The whole world saw it. They cheated. Nah, just playing. But everything's been going good. Finally got a day off today, so I just sat back, relaxed, and I did nothing except win a couple of national championships with Iowa State on NCAA. But other than that, I didn't do anything today.
Listen, man, I understand. Well, first of all, I have to give you a big congratulations for a new creative type of thing that you and Chase are doing, right?
Yeah.
I heard some rumblings about that. Contacted a couple of my contacts in Hollywood, and so I've been given a sneak peek at some of the things that you guys are up to. I did not know that y'all were so talented.
Let's check this out. Let's see what we got.
Let's see. Oh, let me see if I can do this on the fly. I want to replace this. Hold on 1 second. You go.
Let's see what we got.
So you and Chase,
I like it. I love
it. You and Chase are going big time.
I love it. I love it. The Viking Vice. Let's go. Let's go.
Man, when I saw this, I nearly rolled on the floor, fell out of my chair, laughing. So
I like it. I love it, man. I
saw the trailer. The trailer that's in development, like 30-40 second trailer for this episode. And so here's the scene. You and Chase are rolling through downtown Valdosta across Lowndes County, right? Looking for that elusive region championship, right? Big game coming up. And Chase got to step out of the car, and the music's blaring in the background, Miami Vice, something's in the air tonight, that kind of stuff. Phil Collins in the background. And then the music starts to kind of fade low a little bit. And Chase, both of you step out of the car. Chase starts the conversation and he says, "Boss man, I just feel like something's in the air." And you said something like, "Yeah, the Concord Palace is going to be rocking this Friday night." And he says something else. Oh, he says something like, "So who do you think is going to win the big game?" And you look right into the camera with a little smirk on your face, and you said, "As always, Lowndes by 50.
Vice by 50. And if they wouldn't have cheated, it would have been the Vice by 50.
If they wouldn't have cheated. I thought you would enjoy that.
Dude, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. When you shared it earlier, I was like, "Oh man, I love it. I love it."
So I actually tried to create the 30-second video to go along with it, and got part of the way through. And listen, AI requires a lot of power consumption, and my computer was not strong enough to produce that 30-second video. That's why a stock like NVIDIA is going crazy, because you need that kind of computing power to be able to fuel that AI stuff, especially when it comes to video. So.
Oh yeah, I got that one. I want to say back around 2006 to 2008, I was really into building computers, and then around 2010, just kind of got away from it. But I think I want to build me another one. So, but I got everything I got is Apple, so it's kind of hard to build a Mac without spending $12,000. So
Well, that's as much as I love this kind of talk, it's not what people tuned in for, man. So let's get on to some Lowndes Vikings talk. This is pretty interesting. This is the latest composite ranking across the state when it comes to post Wintersville Classic. Armand, you see, you still have Grayson at the very top, followed by Buford, Carrollton, McEachern. Now we have Valdosta in the top 5, followed by North Gwinnett, Lowndes at number 7. And Harrison and Brookwood, Colquitt County number 9, Harrison and Brookwood rounding out the top ranks teams there in the state. Listen, I think we owe an apology to our local Phil Jones at ITG Next. Phil took a lot of grief in these composite rankings when he consistently put Valdosta one notch above Lowndes all season.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody gave him some grief. And here we are post Wintersville Classic, and turns out he was right.
Yeah. This is what I've been, giving Valdosta the flowers all year. I've been telling you, hey, they got a good team. Don't look at that Colquitt loss as as who they are.
That's right.
But I still felt that going into it, everything was telling me, Lowndes will win. I know I said by 50, but I say by 50 every week. I just felt like Lowndes had a better team.
Absolutely.
A well-rounded team, and for whatever reason, we didn't get done. I mean, we'll get into it later on in the show. But, Valdosta is a very talented team. And I've been telling people that all year. So,
Yeah, you're exactly right. When we did our predictions last week, I predicted Lowndes would win, of course, but I thought the score would be 28-24.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew that Valdosta's offense was explosive enough to at least score 24 points. And that was pretty dang close. They scored 23.
Yeah.
But I did not, under any circumstance, see any scenario where the Lowndes offense was held to 14 points. I just did not see that coming.
Yeah, I didn't either. But all year, I have been saying that, Lowndes has to play, the key to victory is to play, don't get behind the sticks, stay on schedule. And if they're able to do that, then success. If not, then they're going to struggle. And they got behind the sticks a lot.
Yeah.
A lot, a lot of second and longs, when traditionally all year we've been used to second and 5, second and 3, not too many third and longs, that we had to convert all year. And Valdosta did a good job of putting us in that uncomfortable situation. So right. It's just one of those things. And I think as we look at it, and people always say, okay, well, where was the passing game and where was this and where was that? From my observations, what I saw is, and it didn't dawn on me till after the game. Maybe I think yesterday we were in a group chat, we were talking, and Lowndes doesn't really have a quick passing game. Everything that seems to be like really explosive down the field passing, and it kind of it came to catches. So hopefully we can develop a quick passing game. We get some key elements back, because once Mason Woods went down, it was like, who we turn to now? And which was kind of uncharacteristics, because most of the year you had Danny Vickers, you had Bill, you had Thomas getting into the action, Joe Henry getting some action. You had all these different players. That's why we dubbed it the Hydra offense.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, it wasn't there Friday night. So, we just.
Yeah. And so we'll get into the more of those details as the show progresses on. But let's talk a little bit. Let's look a little bit ahead and talk about where we stand as far as first round playoff matchups goes. We've been looking at Region 8 all year, Armand. And so now we have the matchups, right? Valdosta is the number 1 seed. And so they're going to be hosting Decula. Lowndes, number 2 seed, Hope will be hosting Collins Hill. And I'm kind of looking forward to Collins Hill coming down here, because last few times we played the Eagles, they beat us. So I'm looking forward to the Eagles coming down here.
Yeah, the last time Collins Hill was here, they had Travis Hunter, Horn. They had a lot of players. And
Ja'Cory Brown was injured.
Ja'Cory Brown was injured. Chase Belcher was out. That was what 70% of our offense right there.
Yeah,
was out. We had a freshman in was it Tate Snellgrove or was it Tate Sermons? Tate Sermons. He wasn't a freshman.
I think it was Tate Snellgrove.
Snellgrove. Okay,
was still on the team, and they had to insert him into that game or something like that.
Something like that. You know, Jakar was had that ankle injury, and you know we just had a very young team out there against a uber talented team that went on to win the state championship, but they don't have they don't make many Travis Hunters out there. So
no, dude's in the NFL.
I know, Heisman Trophy winner. You know, who knew that I was standing right beside the Heisman Trophy winner, and it was. Yeah, you know, Collins Hill, they always seem to have some talent on the team. Looking at their season, which I kind of glanced over, it looks like they kind of feasted off of, you know, the bottom half of that region and made the playoffs. And when they stepped up their game, they didn't fare too well against the upper echelon of the football rankings. So we'll have to see. But I really think that as long as Lowndes shakes this off, you know, just flush that down the toilet and focus, they should handle Collins Hill fairly easily, I think.
Yeah. Well, you and I are going to disagree on that point, and we'll get to some of those details a little bit later on. But just to round out Region 1-6A, you got Colquitt as the 3rd seed. They're going to be on the road at Mill Creek. Going to be an interesting game between two good programs there. Richmond Hill, congratulations to the Wildcats over there from Richmond Hill making the playoffs this year as the number 4 seed. They're going to be, unfortunately, on the road at the University of Beaufort.
West Georgia University. That's what it is, yeah. Man, that's I think we might have a running clock in the 3rd quarter. The Richmond Hill.
I think so. I think that's going to be ugly, and I hope they watch us say something like that to give them some bulletin board material, because I am pulling for them. But whatever they got to do to get their guys to play just a little bit harder, I think it's going to take that, because Beaufort, you know, we know firsthand how it is to play up there and how massive those guys are, and not to mention they're full of talent as well. So. Anyway, so that rounds out Region 1-6A. So let's kind of switch our attention real fast to reclassification real fast, Armand, because that was major news as it swept across the state of Georgia in the high school football scene. Everybody is talking about reclassification. And so does it affect Lowndes that much? No, not really. So here's what I'm talking about. Okay, so, oops, that's the wrong slide. Okay, so here we are, the new Region 1-7A. So as you guys know, the GHSA is going back to 7 classes, right? Previously, they had classes 1 through 6, but 1 was divided into 2 subdivisions. And so they in earnest had 7 classes, but we're actually doing away with the split class 1A. And now we're tacking on 7. So we're going back up to 7A. Okay. So this looks like the new Region 1-7A. And what I have there is 3 columns next to it. And those are on the student counts. Okay. So you have the raw or the real student count in the left column. Then the OZ, that stands for out of zone kids, right? So those are kids that are attending your school that don't live in your district. Okay. And then you add those 2 columns together and you get the total number. So you see the Camden County Wildcats, Colquitt, Lowndes, Richmond Hill, Valdosta. Lowndes got about 3,059 kids in the raw count. When you add the out of zone kids, that's 47. And then the final number is 3153. Now, if you do some quick math, you quickly discover, Armand, that 3059 plus 47 is not 3153.
Yeah, it's that multiplier, right?
It's the multiplier. That's right.
Like,
and so that out of district kids, it counts as, one out of district kid counts as 3.
3, okay.
To the GHSA.
Did it used to be 1.8 or?
It used to be 2.0.
2.0, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm getting a 1.8 multiplier from, but
yeah. But there's a prominent member of the current region that's not on here anymore. So you see that dotted line at the bottom, 2259. That was the cutoff for the smallest or the last team to make it into the new Class 7A, right? But there's a prominent member of the current region that's not on here. And check this out, Armand. It's none other than Tift County. Tift County. Let me go ahead and move our mugs out of the way. Okay. So you see Tift County there, 2055 as a raw count. When I first saw that number, I was kind of surprised of how few schools compared to Lowndes. That's 1,000 less kids than Lowndes, just a raw number, right? Then they have 21 out-of-district kids. Now, I'm predicting in the next couple of years, those out-of-district kids are going to grow in number. You know why? Jeff Littleton's there, and it's going to draw from programs like Irwin County and Fitzgerald and Turner County. I think even Worth County. You're going to see some kids gravitate over there. Why? Because Irwin County's way down. Fitzgerald, not as good as they were in years past. So I think some of these kids are going to gravitate to Tift County. But as we stand now, 2,055 kids in the raw count. With the multiplier, now it's up to 2,097. But that's below the cutoff. So Tift County is staying in 6A while the rest of us move up to 7A. So and that's going to be a notable difference.
Yeah, and if I'm thinking correctly, I don't think it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams moved up, while 1, 2, 3. Well, yeah, even Cal moved up. So
yeah, Cal went from 4A to what, 6A?
6A, yeah. Yeah. I don't see many teams from our areas. Brooks, Bryan. Not many teams from our area moved up.
That's right. So what about some of those other teams? Because I was thinking, okay, so if Lee County gets an influx of kids from Albany and Darby County, then they might move up, but that wasn't the case. What about Coffee County, that kind of stuff? So I got an answer for you guys in case you were curious. All right, so here's the current Region 2 5A. You got Coffee, Houston, Lee, Northside, Warner Robins, Veterans, and Thomas County Central. So what's the new region going to look like? And remember, this is going to be 6A, so it's probably going to be called Region 2 6A. And so I've got the count next to those as well. So you got Coffee County, Houston, Lee, Northside, Warner Robins, Veterans, Thomas County Central, and Tift County is probably going to be bolted on to this region. That's probably going to be a region. Now, there is an outside chance, Armand, that Coffee County may petition the GHSA to move out of this region to join a more coastal region, because they're not very far from Brunswick, right? Yeah. They're not very far from places like Effingham County, that kind of stuff, in the Savannah area. So they may petition to move out of this ultra difficult region and go and over to a more pleasing coastal region, you know?
Yeah, because just looking at it, it's like, man, TCC, Veterans, Northside, Lee County.
That's a tough region.
That's a rough go.
Yeah.
That is a rough go.
Yeah.
Wow.
So pick your poison. Tift County goes from our region to joining this region. It doesn't get any easier.
Yeah. While it might not be easier for them, I think they can compete. Yeah. From the last 2 years, Jeff Littleton has that program on the rise. They're doing all the right things, and they play hard.
Absolutely.
And they do have some talent. It might be young and uncultivated, but they have some talent up there in Tift County. So, that's going to be an exciting region to watch. That one there is. That might be the toughest. Might be the toughest region in the state.
Absolutely, man. So I want to show you something while we're talking about this kind of stuff. Okay. So let me replace something real fast. I want to show you this. Okay. All right. So y'all can see this, right? All right. So you guys know what this is by now. This is the new postseason ranking. I mean, this doesn't apply this year. Okay, this won't start until next year, but I think it's kind of cool that the GHSA goes ahead and publishes this kind of stuff on their website, so us fans like us could, have something to talk about. But I thought this was a great exercise because if you take a look at this screen, Armand, if you take a look at this screen with the new region, do you know what really sticks out?
What's that?
You're only going to have 4 region games.
Yeah.
That means you got to find 6 non-region games. 6.
Yeah.
So how do you do that? So that's what you and I and Chase were kind of debating that a little bit earlier today.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to get my little gimmick set up so I can.
I understand. You do what you got to do. Well, I'll do some talking and stall for time. Okay, so what was I just talking about? Oh, yeah. All right, so I was thinking about today, going into the new era of postseason rankings, our schedule is really going to count big time, right? In years past, you follow this train of thought with me. In years past, you've heard coaches say in high school football, there are 3 seasons, right? There's the non-region schedule, which is season 1, and that gets you ready for your region play. So region play is season 2. And then once you get through that gauntlet, you go to season 3, and that's your playoff season. But all that, Armand, goes out the window. You know why? Because now with this new postseason ranking, your winning percentage counts, your opponent's winning percentage counts, and your opponent's winning percentage counts. Yeah. So moving forward, how in the world do you schedule a non-region schedule with a new formula?
You have to be very careful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because while you want those big games, you don't want to be able to, you don't want to handicap yourself too much, Yeah. So it's going to take some planning.
So one of the things that I thought about in my analytical brain is, okay, so what is the most effective way, or at least to give you a kind of a hint on which direction to go? I think the GHSA has done us a big favor in publishing this stuff right here early, ahead of time, right? Because I think you can use this as a, not a template, but kind of a roadmap. Past prediction is not any type of predictor of future performance, but it is a predictor of trends for a program. So for example, if I'm going through this list here, and 2 of the major components is my opponent's win percentage and my opponent's win percentage, right? Well, shoot, the GHSA gives it to you right here. So let's say I'm interested in scheduling someone like a Peachtree Ridge next 2 seasons, right? I can look up this chart and say, okay, so Peachtree Ridge's winning percentage is 70%. That's good, right? So that favors me. So if they continue to win like that, that's good for me because their win percentage is pretty high. But take a look at their opponent's winning percentage. It's below 50%. So now I got to rethink this. It's like, okay, do I really want to go that route because their opponents really aren't that good overall? So I think this is a great starting point. And I don't know if the GHSA did this on purpose, or if I'm a head coach, I'm looking at this chart or this table and going down and looking at these 2 specific columns, win percentage and opponent's winning percentage. And that gives me a head start on scheduling for next 2 years.
Yeah, it's so this is the question I wanted to ask. So is it just your classification that you want to schedule, or is it, can you drop down a classification and it still counts when you schedule those?
Yeah, so the new formula does not punish you for going outside of your class.
Okay.
Remember, everything's based on win percentage.
Gotcha. So ideally, we could restore some of those old rivalries that we had with Coffee County, Bainbridge, Ware County, Tift. we could,
yes.
maybe even a Cook County and a Brooks County. Who knows?
And it would favor some. So think about this. Coffee County, for example, they got to schedule some folks on their non-regional schedule. And one of the things they're looking at is their opponent's win percentage. Well, shoot, if they schedule Lowndes, our winning percentage is probably going to be pretty high.
Yeah.
So it would actually favor them even if they lost the game. So anyway, so that's a great starting point. So if, I know there's coaches all over the place watching this show, and they'll go back and watch it on demand. So coaches, listen, take some free advice. Use what the GHS are already giving you. If you're not used to scheduling in this type of format, this is a great starting point.
Yeah, I agree. It's man, when are they gonna release the schedule again? Because like typically like in February, March.
They've got to have them in March.
By March, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, we only got about 4 months, to wait, and that's something that's really we're really gonna have to watch.
Yeah.
That's but the out of state games don't really matter. Don't come into effect, do it.
Well, the Adams, yes, currently it is going to affect it.
It does. Okay.
Yeah. So let me explain how real fast. So if you schedule, well, let me think about it. The new formula does not distinguish between a out-of-state opponent and, let's say, Valwood. They group all those teams together, and they call it a non-GHSA school.
Okay.
So you can play those schools, right? But they only count in one part of the formula, and that's your win percentage. It doesn't count in the other two parts of the formula. That's why Camden County this year, by the end of the season, Camden had kind of a pretty bad record, right? Overall. Well, I shouldn't characterize. They had a 6-4 record, right? But they only won one region game. But you know what? According to the postseason ranking, they were still ranked number 12 in the state. So logically, how can that be? And here's how. In their formula, they were credited with a win against an out-of-state team because they're right there on the Georgia-Florida border, right? So it made sense that they would schedule all these Florida teams in their non-region schedule. But those games only counted on one part of a 3-part formula. So when it came to your opponent's win percentage and your opponent's opponent, those two components of their opponents did not even factor into their equation. So they got the benefit of a win, but it did not pull them down any, because if their opponents played awful games or awful teams and did not have very good seasons, that wasn't counted against them at all. That's a major flaw in this new formula. Because if you play a non-GHSA school, they only count in one part of the formula instead of all 3 parts.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I definitely I'm just excited about who do we play next year. Don't know who we play next year, but I know who we got next week. So
you know who one of the most valuable departments or potential people. Let me say it this way: if I'm a head coach going forward, you know who I'd go recruit?
Who's that?
The math department.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. Put those smart kids and those teachers to work for you to not just analyze stuff like this, but analyze trends in a ball game. Especially now going into the playoffs, you got 10 weeks of data, right? And so, guys, modern day football is becoming a math problem more than anything.
Yeah, but all right. Lane Kiffin uses analytics, but why'd you go for it? Well, the numbers say we should go for it. But don't. If I'm a coach, I probably never ever. I probably would not have an analytics team.
You're old school.
I'm old school. Like, it's 4th and 3 at the 40. They're stopping us. I'm probably gonna pin them deep if my defense is playing good. Try to just flip the field.
Yeah.
that's just me. I don't need somebody in a lab coat to tell me that I should go for it on 4th and 3 or should I kick a field goal. Like, I don't need that, because history kind of tells me, hey, we probably should kick the field goal, take the points, or
that's right,
whatnot. But unlike Chase, I'm a little more conservative on when it comes to play calling and whatnot. So, that's kind of is what it is.
I hear you. All right, so let's go to the comment line. Check out some of these comments. Jerry Safford says, beat the Eagles. Go Vikings. Absolutely. Robert Lindsay says, it's still go Vikings and Vikings by 50.
By 50.
Okay, so Robert Lindsay, you've been with us all year, bro. So it's not Vikings by 50. It's, Armand, how do you say it?
50.
Vikings by 50.
DDY.
Jerry Safford, we must do better with our other receivers when teams double team number 8. Yeah, I mean, you're not saying anything, Jerry, that every observer of that game saw. Okay, including the coaching staff, right?
Yeah.
So they will quickly admit that, they double covered, they bracketed, they did all kinds of stuff to affect, or I should say, take Artavian Brown out of the game plan. And we did not have an answer for that.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
I don't know why we didn't have an answer. That's just the way it is. So he says also, hopefully our running back number 3 heals. Yeah, Mason Woods goes down in the 3rd quarter, and it did appear to affect our offensive game plan. Did he have a high ankle injury?
It's some type of ankle injury. Unlike college and NFL, they don't have to release the injury report in high school sports. But from my understanding, it is an ankle injury. He left the field. It was heavily taped. He was probably thinking about seeing if he could go on it. But he did get some help off the field. Talked to his mom. Say he's doing all right. He's healing up. He's just trying to get ready for Collins Hill next week. So
yeah. So I would if he's not 100%, I would withhold him, because I think we could beat Collins Hill without him. Just let him heal up another week, because if we get past Collins Hill, we're definitely going to need him against a very good North Gwinnett defense on the road.
Yeah.
Okay, so Dejuna Bland says, I don't think I'm late. What's up, everybody? Thank you so much, Dejuna, for joining us on the program tonight. Travis Hart says, that offensive game plan that happened Friday night needs to be thrown out. I think many people would agree with you, Travis. And listen, let me take that back. Guys, it could have been a great game plan, but we got to give credit to Valdosta's defense. You can have the best game plan in the world, and if you don't execute well, and or your opponent executes better, then it wasn't the game plan, right? It was being out executed by your opponent. Yeah. So it's probably a combination. But guys, I don't think we can give Valdosta enough credit for what they were able to contain our offense into producing. Right?
Yeah, even though they cheated. They had a real good game plan. And both offensively and defensively, you gotta tip your hat to them. And let me just say this: it could have been worse, right? It really could have been worse if Valdosta would have called a timeout, like right before the end, during the end of the 2nd quarter.
Yeah.
If they could have called a timeout, if they would have called the timeout, got the ball back, and scored, whether it was 3 or 7, it could have been very easily 16-7, 20-7, with all the momentum going their way, and but also with the momentum getting the ball back in the second half.
That's right.
So it could have been, but just thank God that Coach Felton was like, hey, let's just. I'm happy to take the lead in the halftime where it is right now. So it could have been worse.
That's right. Chase Garto, aka the coach, also known around these parts as Super Fan. Chase, you had a chance to calm down?
No, I'm still mad. No, this one kind of been simmering in my spirit, kind of like a slow cooker neck bone type. It ain't been good, man.
Oh Lord, Armand, he talking about simmering, stewing neck bones. It's still bad.
It take a long time to cook.
It's gonna take a while for me to get over this one. I'll be honest with you, fellas. It really is. This one hurt a lot.
That's right. That's right. Hey, Armand, I got to put this on screen because listen, I'm a big believer into the victors go the spoils, and Daryl Britt has been a Wildcat heckler for the past few weeks, but he earned it. He's been with his team, and he says, "Hey, Armand, is it still like Vikes by 50?"
Absolutely, it's always Vikes by 50.
Put him in the penalty box. Put him in the penalty box, and you know it is Daryl. Yes, Daryl is by 50. Y'all cheated. You know it. And the whole world saw it. But it's always Vikes by 50, man. Like, that's just what it is. You know, you can't get me to say nothing else, nothing different. I told you, and I tell you again, I don't care if we're playing the 49ers, the Broncos, the University of Georgia, Alabama, the 85 Bears, the 01 Hurricanes. It's Vikes by 50.
That's right. That's right. Safford says, those Eagles are pesky. Don't think we ever beat them. You might be right. I have to go look that up. Chad Howell says, so what's the skinny? I'm hearing Coach Reese has stepped down from play calling duty. I haven't heard that.
I haven't heard that either. Coach Reese is, listen, all year Coach Reese has called a wonderful offense. It was working. He adjusted to Jace being out. Still produced, and he had one bad game. But here's the thing: we don't know how the plays are filtered.
Yeah.
Right?
So from what I've been told, now I don't know about this specific situation, but what I've been told is Coach Reese is up there in the skybox with some of the other assistant coaches, as you would expect an offensive coordinator, and he signals the plays down, and JD Sellers does signal calls in. I believe I'm right on that, but what he's asking here, I don't know. I don't know anything about.
Yeah, and another thing, like we don't know if Coach Carter is vetoing certain play calls. We have no idea.
Yeah.
Right. So look, I'm not gonna look. Todd Monken to me is the greatest offensive coordinator in Georgia history.
Amen. Hey, Armand, say that again.
Todd Monken is the greatest offensive coordinator in Georgia history. However, he did have some bad games where his game plan just didn't go through, and I'm gonna treat this game just like that. Hey, all year, Coach Reese has been calling a heck of a game, and he's been dialing it up. And for whatever reason, I like to say they cheated, but nah, I give Philadelphia the credit. It didn't work out this time. So
here's what I want to point out. Okay, and this is something that's been weighing on my mind. So I went and looked at all the numbers, and I looked at a bunch of different things. Valdosta and I use that word supposedly, have the best 1-2 punch running back duo in the state. That defense flat shut them down. Them boys had something like 25 or 26 carries combined for a combined yardage of 47 yards. So say what you want about the three-man front, say what you want about the 3-3 stack, but you shut down the best running back duo in the state.
I agree.
And I mean, they've done that all year long. They've done it to Jay Lamar. They've done it to Kale. Now they've done it to Valdosta. We just got to figure out a way to contain better on the end. If we contain a little better on the defensive ends, it's fine. Then the quarterback can't escape.
Yeah. So tell me those stats again, because they don't quite sound
max preps, I think Deron Foster had 19 carries for 37 yards. And I think Marquise Fennell had, I want to say, 9 carries for 10 yards.
Okay, I'll give you that. But their overall rushing was much more than that.
Yeah, look at Tyreek Wade. He rushed the ball better than both running backs. He rushed the ball 11 times for 50 some odd yards.
Well, if you to play devil's advocate, Chase, if you sell out to stop one guy, I mean, we talk about it all the time in our Hydra offense. If you sell out to stop one player, they're good enough to go to other players, and looks like that's what Valdosta did.
Yeah, and you got it.
All I heard was how they were going to run over us, and they didn't do that.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a very hard-fought game. That, like me and Armand said after the game several times, there was a few plays that I'm sure that our team would like to have back. There was a few plays that just didn't fall our way, a few calls that didn't go our way, and unfortunately, that's football.
Yeah.
And hats off to that team that used to be, that team that used to be on Forest Street over there. They come out with the game plan and they executed it. We weren't ready. I guess in all aspects, if you really think about it, I think we were preparing for Trip Berry and we got Tyreek Wade instead.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, that's the only conclusion I can come to, guys. I mean, it just looked like we didn't see him coming. Maybe we just didn't have enough game film on him because he only had a couple 3 games where he actually played the whole game. Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure what the issue was there, but offensively, I mean,
well, the bottom line, guys, is the bottom line is these two teams almost mirror each other when it comes to offensive firepower, defensive prowess. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. Lowndes in total offense against Valdosta, 336 total yards against Valdosta, right? So that was 60 passing yards and 164 rushing yards. Okay, I'm sorry, that was all-purpose yards. Okay, so now Valdosta had 327 yards. So these offenses were very, very similar to each other as far as offensive productivity goes. Now, that means that both defenses played fairly well, right? Yeah. But at the end of the day, you still the Achilles heel to the Lowndes defense is on occasion they are susceptible to big plays.
Yeah,
and that's what happened.
And I think as far as the defense was concerned, when Valdosta had a lot of successes when they ran tempo. They ran tempo offense, and Lowndes couldn't. They had those 2 long drives. It was all tempo. It was fast paced, and Lowndes couldn't. We couldn't adjust to it, or we didn't. We failed to adjust to it. And when I sit there and I think about the game, right? That first touchdown was a dime, right? that was a dime. They ran tempo, hit Fennell with the little hitch or bubble screen, and then the other touchdown, he ran towards the line of scrimmage and just kind of pitched it, over our defender's head, and Fennell, got the score. So it was. Other than the one big play, that hurt us, it wasn't a lot. It was just a lot of just chipping away. 5 yards here, 6 yards here, 7 yards there. And then when our defense got to stop, we put them behind the sticks. And that's why I say it's so important to play on schedule. When we got us off schedule, defense looked dominant. But the minute they went tempo, they were able to catch their footing. That's where we had problems. And for us offensively, like I said, I personally think that we lack a quick passing game. Everything takes forever to set up, to develop, because we're taking big shots down the field, or it's a play action. So maybe they install some quick play a quick passing game, because we did see that during the spring game.
Yeah.
Right. So we'll see. Who knows?
We'll see. So let's move. You guys got anything else you want to say about Wintersville?
They cheated.
That's funny stuff, man. That's funny stuff.
And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
That's your story. You're sticking to it. I like it, man. I like it. Okay, so here's what we got this year. Collins Hill coming up. We'll go into a lot more detail next week, guys, when it's game week. We lost Chase.
Yeah.
I think he was starting to break up. So there he comes. Come back. Hopefully there's a better connection. Okay. Chase, you with us? Nope. He ain't with us. All right, so let's go over these game stats. All right, so it looks like Collins Hill is a pass first team.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and that's what we've seen from them in the past. They have a new coach compared to the last time they came down, and we played them the last couple times. They've got a new guy at the helm, but it seems like they run that same offense. They throw it everywhere. If I remember right, Collins Hill of years past, Armand, they used a short passing game basically as an extension of their run game.
Mm-hmm.
That was basically their run game, right? I don't know if that's what Collins Hill does now, but it's obvious looking at these stats. These guys like to throw the ball. They like to throw the ball. And their quarterback's pretty good at it. So let's see, completion percentage, he's all over the place. Goes from anywhere from 50% up to 90% in one game, right? So they're pretty proficient at passing. Their average is about 10 yards, looks like 10 yards a pop. So it doesn't look like they throw tremendously downfield. So it looks like short and intermediate passing more than anything.
Yeah. And that can be dangerous because you're able to get those guys on the perimeter, and you got to make that tackle in space, because if they're going 4 wide, and they're quick passing game, if you don't make that tackle,
yeah,
that's 6, 7, sometimes 20-yard, gain. So that's what it's going to be. It's going to be imperative that Lowndes keeps everything in front of them like they've been doing, for 90% of the year, and and just come up and make tackles. I know we're like more than a week out, right?
Yeah.
But I expect Izzy Harrison, if that's what they do, I expect Izzy Harrison to have a big game, a monster game, if that's what they do.
Let me ask you something, as a defensive-minded guy.
Yeah.
So Collins Hill has it sounds like maybe a good short to intermediate passing game. What kind of pressure does that put on your linebacking core? Because I'm thinking that if they've got a pretty good short passing game, that goes a long way in neutralizing your pass rush.
Yes, because what they tend to do is linemen want to get up the field, right? Defensive linemen want to get up the field, and you have to be disciplined, right? Meaning that you still have to control your gap, you still have to be sound. Now, the linebackers and your safeties, right? Mm-hmm. They can't get caught looking in the backfield. You just can't, because if you do, eventually they're gonna fake it and go deep, right? They'll show you the same formation, maybe the same motion, but instead, what ends up happening is they send somebody deep. Normally, it's like right up the seam, right up the middle. Well, we've been burned a couple of times there, especially over the last 3 years, kind of right up the middle. You see a tight end running free or somebody. So you have to stay disciplined. You have to stay focused, and don't trust. It's hard to say don't trust what your eyes see, right? But you got to know sometimes it's window dressing, and you have to put more faith in knowing your assignment than actually what you're seeing to.
That's right.
To combat that. But you see it now, like it's not like it was 20 years ago, or when that quick passing game was all the rave and everybody was doing it. It was brand new. uh, coordinators have seen it more than enough to know how to stop it. So you're going to have to, in order to be successful, you're going to have to do more than that. You got to have a threat, running the ball, and you got to have a deep threat.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, everybody does it. I think, what's the kid from Oklahoma? He won a Heisman Trophy doing that same bubble slant 20 times a game. So is it effective? Yes, but it's not new. And it's something that I'm pretty sure Coach Carter and that staff, Norwood and Demps, and Coach Davis, I'm pretty sure they've seen it enough to know how to combat it. So,
and I would love to see Lowndes has never, in my opinion, truly committed to developing a short passing game like that, whether it's bubble screens or tight end screens or drag routes or slants or anything like that.
Well, not recently, but 96 and 97, CJ Lofton, and Brandon Coward made a living off of a hitch route, the quick slant. Mm-hmm. Like they just made a living on that. I'm talking about
because most of the time especially high school, most of the time that play is there.
It's there, yeah. And you have a dynamic receiver. In fact, you remember when back when what's his name? The coach at Georgia Tech ran the wing tee or the option. Paul Johnson.
Paul Johnson.
He had Calvin Johnson, Damaris Thomas, right? They ran 2 routes. Well, 3 routes. They ran a slant, a hitch, and a go. And if you have a superior athlete out there, man, it would give you fits. It'll be a long day at the office.
Yep. So,
yeah, it's Lowndes has to develop because we have too many weapons, to not, be doing it. Now, I'm not saying we just abandon everything that we've done. No, we have a very strong run game. We have a legit deep threat in bubble, but you still got Henry. You still got Thomas. You still got Bill and Vickers. You still got these guys that I think, in order for us to make a deep run and get to a state championship and win one, we're gonna have to involve those guys.
That's right.
So,
all right. So, last thing I want to show, guys. Let me go ahead and bring this back up on the screen. All right. So, last thing I want to show. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Oops. So let me share this screen with you. Armand, you know what I went through? I had a little bit of extra time. Who am I kidding? I have no time nowadays. But I went ahead and did this. I'm trying to get us out of the way. That's what I'm trying to do. Let me put us there at the bottom. I guess that'll work right there. Okay, so what this is it looks like a playoff bracket, right? And you'd be exactly right. But Armand, this is based on if the playoffs started next year. If we fast forward to next year using the postseason ranking and this year's records, this is what the playoff bracket would look like. And it's amazingly different from what we currently see. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom of the screen. Look at this. You see teams like Carrollton right there, team number 4. But you know where Lowndes shows up on this thing? Over here in the bottom right quadrant. You know why?
Yeah.
Because even losing to Valdosta the way we did, we would still be the number 2 seed in this classification. Buford would be number 1. Lowndes would be number 2. You know why that would be so significant and how it differs now versus or next year versus now? That means that there's no more coin toss to determine home field advantage. What it also means is since Lowndes would be the number 2 seed, if this were to come true, then that would mean as long as it keeps winning, the only team that could knock them out of a home field advantage would be Buford. right? And Buford's on the other side of the bracket.
Yeah.
So this is what the projected bracket would look like if we were using the postseason rankings this year. Lowndes would be hosting North Forsyth in the first round. Then probably would be hosting Mill Creek in the second round. And then we would get North Gwinnett at home in the third round, and then would be hosting Grayson at home in the semifinals. That is starkly different from what we're facing now, right? We're hosting Collins Hill, and then we're going on the road to North Gwinnett. And then hopefully, if Hillgrove does their part, we may be hosting a game against Hillgrove in the third round, and then going up to Grayson in the semifinals. Completely different scenario than using this new postseason ranking.
Gotcha. I got a question for you, Larry.
Yeah.
And I know I'm just thinking and taking. We haven't talked about this in a while. Do you think that instead of having this, because they used to have the semifinals, up centrally, right? Do you think that? I think you would gross more money, right? Because that's what it's all about, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you went back to having the semifinals there and then having the top seed host it. Am I wrong in thinking that, or?
Explain to me how you would make more money.
So you have more teams, more people traveling.
Okay.
Right. So you think the semifinals, you got 4 teams from each region.
Yeah.
Right. And if it's 4 teams from each region, so that's what, 2. You have 14 games.
Yeah.
And you would have, am I right? 14 games? Yeah. Two in each category. Or this year it would have been 12. Might have been 14. I don't know. Either way, you double the amount of people that are willing to travel.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know. I'd have to go and actually sit down and run some numbers to kind of test your hypothesis. But, the number one reason they went to a model like this is to generate more money, in their mind, to generate more money. And they might be right. The other reason, Armand, to do a state championship in a central location like that, instead of having all the games played at the home fields, is, you can televise all the games back to back to back. If they're spread all over the state, it's almost virtually impossible to televise all the games.
No, it's not.
Oh, okay.
It's not. I mean, we're live right now.
That's true.
And there are hundreds and thousands of people who are live right now.
That is true, but it's not a professional production like a GPB. That's all I'm saying. GPB could not be at every location to put a professional production into place, because it is special to have a professional crew that calls the games, that interviews people, that does all the things that you would expect to have when you televise a game. Now, it's what you're talking about is, well, shoot, you could live stream all your events, right? But you got to keep in mind that sometimes internet service is spotty in places across Georgia versus other places. But by having all of it in one central location, you televise it with one professional group like GPB, have all the bells and whistles that goes with it, and you have the high quality that everybody wants.
So it's cost efficient for GPB, right?
Absolutely.
Right. But do they share that profit with the schools?
I don't know.
I'm just saying. If not, then.
But the GHSA does, because they get the ticket sales from all those state championship tickets they sell, and they do at the end of the season. The GHSA does share revenue back with the local schools.
Yeah, maybe we should sign up for a petition, or maybe we should have just hitched it to the back of the big beautiful bill to get past all state championships to the high seed back home. I don't know, but it was just a thought that just as I'm looking at the bracket, it just just popped up. Maybe somebody else was.
I wish they would move it to a different location. Yeah, like for example, Mercer has a fantastic stadium that is more centrally located for everybody. Yeah, they have TV production there all the time. Now it's outdoors, so you got to deal with that. that kind of stuff. So, it's an interesting debate. It's been raging since they moved the championships all to a central location in the Atlanta area. But I wish someday they would move the championships back to home state, even if it's not at Lowndes. If Lowndes found itself in a state championship against Marietta, and we had to travel to Marietta, that would still be a very exciting road trip.
Yeah, so be it. I'm all for tradition. Some traditions I think we should keep. Some of them we should, just let them go away. But yeah, having the state championship at home, or just at a regular stadium. I mean, and I'm pretty sure they could find a way to do it. Maybe there's a bye week between the semifinals and the game, and then you start those games on Wednesday. You know what I mean? Like, and have them that way.
Yeah, that's right. So, guys, that's going to wrap it up for us tonight. Thank you so much for checking us out on the Viking Nation Live on an off week. Hope to see you guys at the Concrete Palace next Friday night. Remember, tickets go on sale Monday, right, at the ticket office there at the Board of Education. And the same policy remains that we've had all along, right? Season ticket holders, first line, blah, 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 all that stuff. If you want to see those details, go check us out on the Viking Nation Facebook page. All those ticket details are right there waiting for your consumption. So Chase Garto sends us an apology to the audience because he had a bad connection. He couldn't stay on. So hopefully we'll have him back on to join our Superfan panel next week. So on behalf of on behalf of Viking Vice, Armand Rashad, Chase Garto, I'm Larry Godwin with the Viking Nation Live. You guys have a great week. God bless every single one of you. And as always, go Vikings.
Go Vikings.